what's up, everyone? This is Ren with Dance with My Demons podcast. Are you looking to start a podcast? Then let Buzzsprout be the way. Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show. Podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show could be online and listed on all the major podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and many more, just within minutes of finishing your recording. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. With Buzzsprout, you can create something great together. Follow the link in the show notes, which lets Buzzsprout know we sent you. Buzzsprout will send you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it's sent after a second paid invoice. And it helps support our show as well. Buzzsprout, the best way to create a great and professional podcast. Later.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ren, the host of Dance with My Demons podcast. Are you looking to start a podcast? Then let Anchor be the way. With Anchor's creation tools, you can record and edit right from your smartphone and personal computer. Anchor offers 100% free hosting and distribution, so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Anchor allows you to make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Who doesn't want to make money, right? Anchor has everything you need to make a successful podcast all in one place. Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And don't forget to check out my podcast at anchor.fm/dancingwithmydemons69 and on Spotify, Dancing with My Demons. See you all soon. Later. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ren with Dancing with My Demons podcast. I decided to record this episode because I was inspired by my girlfriend, actually. She was watching a movie called Touched with Fire, which is a movie about two manic depressive poets that meet while in a psychiatric facility. And then when they get out, they continue their relationship, and it basically tells a story of how they cope and how they manage their life together. Well, while my girlfriend was watching this movie, she had many questions, which are very normal. And, she had many questions for me being bipolar. She wanted to see how I felt about certain things. So I decided to create this episode today. So this is episode 6. I've titled it Chasing the Dragon, Mania, a Bipolar's Drug of Choice. One of the things about being bipolar is the manic episodes. It's one of the things that probably people who are bipolar gravitate more towards, because it stimulates you. There's so much energy involved. There's so much creativity involved. There's almost a feeling of invincibility that comes with it. Like you can do anything. I'm going to give you a perfect example of a manic episode. This podcast itself was created and conceived while I was going through a manic episode. So that kind of goes to show you, how the creativity can be stimulated while you're going through an episode like that. It makes you feel like you can do anything. I'll give you a perfect example. Coming home from work, working nights, and right off the bat, you get home and you decide you want to work out. Late at night, mind you, but you have all this energy and you decide you want to work out. Those are just examples of how a manic episode can affect you. There's obviously a bunch of different ways as well. And I want to remind everybody, everything that I speak about is from my perspective, my point of view, and my personal experience. So, but with a manic episode comes the downside, in which you have to be real careful for. She had a few questions, and she wanted to know if, when I'm in a depressed mode, do I still have the same passion for her? And it was hard to explain because it's not a personal thing that you're going through. It's what you're going through. It's a depressive episode. So for me personally, it literally feels like you're like a piece of machinery that's going real fast and going nonstop, and then all of a sudden somebody yanks the cord out of the wall, and then boom, all your energy is gone. Everything is zapped. I literally feel like I just don't want to do anything. Like sometimes you don't even want to move. Sometimes you don't want to interact with anybody. Sometimes you don't even want to, be outside or leave your room. It literally feels like you're just lifeless, like you just don't want to do anything. There are times where it's the effects of being depressed are lesser than others and you can still function, but there are times where you just don't. So it's nothing personal when you're dealing with that, and when you're dealing with people around you who care about you and love you and are wondering why you don't want to interact with them. It's really nothing personal. It's just that's how you feel. You feel like lifeless, like you have no energy and no will at that point. One of the other questions she had for me was, like when she's in my presence when I'm going through a depressed mode, does it bother me? It really doesn't, but for me personally, it really doesn't. But at the same time, I'm really kind of lifeless. Like nothing, is really affecting me or thinking, in my mind. It bothers me. I'm just not thinking anything. I'm just kind of there, in a kind of almost like a vegetative state. You're just there, kind of just lifeless, just hanging on there, and so you can kind of get through it. But to get back to the mania episodes, another question she had asked me is, when you're going through these episodes, why do I feel the urge to want to stop taking meds? And this is the funny thing about mania. It's kind of a tricky thing. It's very, it's very elusive. It's very kind of sneaks up on you. And it, like I said, it leaves you with this feeling of invincibility. Like you're on top of the world. Like nothing can touch you. That like you're okay. Like you're like not just okay, you're like ultra okay. And it's a tricky thing. It kind of tricks your mind. It makes you feel like, well, I feel great, I'm fine. I don't need to take meds anymore because I'm great. I can handle this. And then, comes that tricky thing where you stop taking your meds. And it doesn't happen right away. It's a kind of a gradual thing. But it sneaks up on you. And before you know it, when you stop taking your meds, you start coming down and you start feeling lifeless again. You start feeling that depressive mode and coming down. And it's a weird vicious cycle, because once you come down, then it takes you getting back on your meds, which usually can take anywhere, from a few weeks to a month, maybe even more, to kind of get back to that balanced life again and feeling normal again and feeling even. And so it's a tricky thing. It's not something that, yes, do you know there are consequences that could happen from stop taking your meds? Absolutely. But in those moments when it's happening and you're going through those episodes, are you aware of it? I think subconsciously, yes, you are. But that mania, it's like a demon. It literally overtakes your body. It's like a demon. It makes you feel like Superman. And I think that's the one thing people with mental illness, I know for myself, you're constantly chasing that mania because nobody ever wants to be down. Nobody ever wants to feel out of it or lifeless. When do you feel your best and your happiest? It's when, you're super happy and you're full of life and full of energy. That's when you feel so nobody ever wants to feel down. Nobody ever wants to feel lifeless and zapped of energy. So it's almost like you're constantly chasing that dragon. You're chasing that fix, that drug, which is mania. It's constantly feeding you, with energy. So you always want it. So it's a very tricky thing. It's a funny balance that you have trying to manage it. There are times, I know from my personal experience in my life, it's almost like you think you can kind of like wield this power like a sword or something, like you can control it. And that's where it gets really, really tricky. It really is a mind trick. You can't control it. It's your mind playing tricks on you, telling you that you can because you're going through these manic episodes. But you really can't control it. You can't wield it. You can't, control it to your will to make it work for you. It's about managing it. When you do go through those manic episodes, they can be very stimulating. They can be very creative. But you have to be real careful because they could also be very dangerous. They could also make you make poor and very irrational choices. It's a very tough balance to try to manage and to kind of make it work. And that's why it's so important to have a great support group and people around you, and great doctors and people who can kind of kick your ass and keep you back in place and let you know, okay, you're a little too far out there right now, and I know you're going through something. So it's a very tricky thing. It really is. It really is almost like a drug, It's because you want it. Everybody wants to feel energy. Everybody wants to feel happy. Everybody wants to feel on top of the world, creative, like you can do anything. It's a drug. It's a fix that you constantly want. So you have to be real careful with that. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you see yourself a little out of control, on a little too much on the high side, just as you would being on a depressed mode, it's no different on the manic mode. You should really contact somebody, talk to somebody, reach out to a doctor, to a therapist, or to a family member, somebody to kind of like keep you grounded and get you back. And please, once again, if you are on any type of medications, continue taking the regimen. As much it can be tricky, it's very important that you keep managing your health with medication, with exercise, with proper sleep. All these things play a big part in how you run your life. And it's a balancing act. And without it, if you're not balanced, you run the risk of falling apart. And so you have to be really careful with that. It's just a really important thing. I just, I hope this helps somebody out there that might be going through it, because like I said, this podcast to me has always been about an outlet, a voice, a place for me to speak my mind and to get out my thoughts and things that I've gone through personally and continue to go through, because this is an ongoing thing. It will be never ending. This is something that I will have to manage for the rest of my life. And like I said, there is no cure for mental illness or bipolar. This is something that has to be managed. So just keep that in mind as you're going through, these episodes and, you're trying to function. But I wanted to, put this content out, and I wanted to let my girlfriend know this is dedicated to you, and I hope this answers all your questions. And honey, I love you. And to all the listeners out there, I hope this helps. And on a side note, I want to let everybody know from here on in, I will be releasing new content at midnight every Monday to kick off Monday Madness. So it probably won't be as random as I am right now. It'll be more structured, and like I said, midnight Monday every week, you'll be getting new content from me. So with that being said, stay healthy, stay strong in mind, and most of all, don't let the demons get you down. Later. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I'll be back with an all-new episode very soon. Until then, you can catch past episodes of Dance with My Demons podcast on anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast on. You can also catch me on Instagram at Dance with My Demons 69, on Facebook, Dance with My Demons podcast, on X at DWMD podcast 69. And also, if you or somebody you know is going through an emotional or mental crisis, 988 is the National Suicide Lifeline. Keep that in mind. We're all in this together, and everybody needs each other's help. So until then, stay strong in mind, stay strong in heart, but most of all, don't let the demons get you down. Later.